Hello guys, thank you for tuning in on my channel. In this video, we're going to be talking about uh, a holiday on the witch's year, which is literally right around the corner for the making of this video. It's usually celebrated on July 31st or August uh, 1st, and well, it's called Lammas or Lughnasad. Now, Lammas, easier to pronounce, so I'm going to just say uh, Lammas because well, Lammas means bread loaf or bread mass. Okay, because one of the ways of celebrating because it is the first, technically the first harvest celebration is by baking bread and stuff. uh, the other word um, is more pagany, and because actually Catholics tend to call it Lammas. But in any case, Lughnasad gets its name from the god Lu. Um, he's the god of harvest. He's the god of crafts, um, competitions, and so forth. Nazad means assembly or celebration, so it literally means Lughnasad means the celebration or gathering or festival of Lu. Basically, um, his stepmother, according to the mythos, died while she was preparing the countryside for the harvest. She died from exhaustion. So some people and many magic traditions or pagan traditions look at this as both a harvest festival, but a funeral celebration for the god, or I mean, sorry, the goddess. Now, some of the things interesting about Luke, because a lot of people, even though they say his name, um, they didn't know that, for example, they found statues or faces of him. He has three faces, so he is kind of like a male version, solar deity. Uh, he's kind of like he's got three aspects, kind of like the goddess does. He has three faces. A little tidbit out there. But anyway, some of the ways to basically celebrate this holiday is through, well, feasting, uh, of course, and a lot of times just uh, games or competition. Uh, one of the magic traditions is a loaf of bread that is cooked on the eve of uh, Lammas is basically broken up into four pieces, taken out to the barn where the farmer mills his grain and places it in the four corners to as an offering and also a form of protection for his crops. Um, one of the ways, I mean, I usually will just bake some bread and feed it to the birds and squirrels out there, right, or the fairies, whatever, and be thankful for what I've got. So technically, you could look at this as well. It's kind of, well, much like the modern version of Thanksgiving, which is technically a harvest festival. It's, they're celebrating a big old feast. It's kind of a pagan version of Thanksgiving, just without the pilgrims and the Indians. Uh, so, one of the customs that are often done around this time is to make uh, corn husk dolls, as corn is being one of the main crops of focus besides wheat and grain around this time. Um, and I'm going to show you how to do that. Now, you could take these corn husk dolls and you can enchant them and lay them about your house as decoration, as talismans or amulets for good luck or protection. I also tend to throw these in a bonfire as a form of sacrifice. Now, this is not as bad as it sounds, right? Uh, the dolls are crops, and I put work into making them, and throwing them in the fire as a sacrifice is a reminder that we all, in order, if we're farmers or not, we all have to put our blood, sweat, and energy into anything in this world. Mother Nature only gives us her bounty in the crops because mankind has learned to grow them. That's why we're not running around in the forest hoping we're going to come across something delicious to eat. So I'm thankful for this. And it's just a reminder. You could also take these corn husk dolls and attach a spell bag, mojo bag, whatever you want to call it, that's attached to a person for various healing and so forth. So you can, attach the doll to the bag as a form as a sympathetic act, as saying it's like a magic doll. You can use it in magic practices too. Okay, I also teach this how to do with paper if you don't have corn husks, which is fun because if you're needing a quick little paper doll or a poppet or whatever, it's a fun way to make it. A little bit of modifications of the paper, however, but anyway, you can get your corn husk at your international section of a food place, grocery store. I would prefer, as I do, I always go to my local Spanish market or to support the Spanish community, um, South American community in my group because Walmart doesn't need any more of your money. But you can find these at just about any grocery store in the international aisle, specifically with the Spanish aisle. Anyways, it's about a pound, and you can make about maybe 10 dolls, depending. All right, but what you do is you want to put it in some water, okay? Warm water to help loosen its stiffness. And you want to take about 4 husks, okay? Now notice how they are. So if you make them with paper, you want to cut the paper kind of like this. And you might want to crumple up the paper one time into a ball and then unfold it to make it pliable, more pliable, feel textured. So you take 4 of these and you set them on top of each other. I don't really have a good setup for this, but I'll try to teach that now as I can. Okay, so there you go, 4 of them. You want the thickness and you're going to use the multiple layers. Okay, now right here at the top, right about right here, probably about a ½ inch down, you want to tie a knot. Now I'm going to use uh, red ribbon because red to me represents blood and life, and I'm kind of like giving this little doll a magical life. So I'm going to tie the knot, then I'm going to pause this and show you, and then do each step. So I just don't have this long video. So I'm going to pause it. Be right back. All right, see that? It's tied. Now you don't want to necessarily trim all this off at the moment, especially if you want to uh, get some yarn or some more corn husk and like make little shreds and make a little fold to make your poppet have or your corn doll have hair. I'll get more to that later. I'm not going to do that here, but I'm just going to show you the basic ways to make the doll, and you can decorate it as you wish. Now, you pull the first 2 and the other 2 away from each other, like this, okay? And literally fold it over your knot, all right? Like that. So now, that's what it looks like. You folded it over itself. The knot at the bottom, okay? And then what you're going to do is you're going about an inch, you're going to make a head. Right about where the neck should be, you're going to tie another band or use a rubber band or string or yarn. I'm going to pause that and I'll be right back. Okay, so here we are again. So now you have a head on the corn husk, right? Now you're going to take another piece of corn. Now this was 4. You could take a little smaller pieces that have torn or so forth. So this would be like the 5th. So you technically be using 5 pieces. And you're going to take the thing, and then you're going to lengthwise roll it up into a little like twig. Kind of like this. And then you're going to tie a knot here and a knot here with the same yarn or ribbon or whatever you're using. I'm going to do that. Be right back. Okay, I'm back. So it's like this. Um, every knot I use is it's just the traditional box knot, right? You loop it over, tighten, loop it over again, tighten, makes a little box knot. So now here we go. You have the doll, and you have what will be its arms. What you want to do is you want to separate down the middle, two on one side, two on the other side, and just slip this right in here, close to the neck of the doll. Okay. And then what you're going to do is you're going to find, now there's going to be enough friction in this to kind of keep its arms, but you might have to reposition it every now and then. But anyways, right about where the waist would be, you would make another tie right here, right where the waist would be. I'm going to do that, and I'll be right back. So here we have it, your basic corn husk doll, uh, which with comes naturally with a skirt, right? So this is would easily be female, and you could add hair. I like to use another piece of corn, a husk, and I'll like shred it down. I'll fold it over itself, and I'll shred it down, and to where it has like frill or hair, and I'll just pick the side, and I'll put it right here. I could glue it or whatever, but if you left this end right here long enough, two ends, which you should, if you're going to add hair, but this is just a quick demonstration, you put the hair on top, and you take the little red ribbon or the ribbon and tie it at the top, and just tie the hair onto it. Now a lot of people use yarn and they wrap it around their fingers a couple of times and then make a bunch of loops and just tie it off at the top if you want to have long hair, and then cut the bottom. And if you want short hair, you tie it in the middle and you cut both sides. But anyway, there's your female doll. And if you want to make a male doll, you take two little pieces of corn husk, and you can trim it at the bottom if you want, but you tie it once at the bottom to separate the skirt into legs, and then one around where its knee would be to uh, give it more of a leg impression instead of something like Hulk Hogan's leg, big and fat, puffed out. So I'm going to do that real quick, and then I'll in my example. Okay, so here we are. Now we have a male corn husk doll by just doing a few adjustments. Now I should probably redefine the legs by adding some more ribbon. Um, actually, I underestimated how much I'd use, but yeah, there you go. And again, uh, I would give you a demonstration of making hair, but I hope the verbal instructions were good enough. Like take your about 3 fingers, wrap the quarter yarn around several times, 6 or 7, and then you have this loop of constant yarn. Tie it in the middle, cut it on one side, cut on the other side, and you have basically a bundle of yarn wrapped in the middle, and that could be short hair for the doll. And if you want it long, just tie that knot at the one end of the instead of the middle, and then cut only one end instead of both, and then you have long hair that you can again fasten with this uh, on top of the female doll. Decorated as you see fit, and again, these could be used as you could place them around your house for forms of protection during the harvest season. I like to make these during Samhain or Halloween, also to decorate my altar sometimes. Um, Hell, even around Christmas if you want to. You just fold those little arms around like this, you know, and you can make a little smaller doll, and you can make a woman holding a baby. But in any case, teach this to your kids. I mean, it's a fun way to uh, make old-fashioned toys and tell them basically the story. If you're Christian and you don't want to tell them about the pagan origins, just doing arts and crafts and tell them how hard it was to live back then. And you just couldn't wake up, roll out of bed, and get cheeseburgers and pizza and salad anytime you wanted. People went hungry. because they had to live off the land, and we didn't have all this technology and fast travel to bring stuff half across the world like avocados. They would have never known what an avocado was if they lived in Europe. Anyway, so here you go. Thank you for watching. Um, if you want to, Google more on the subject, but this is just a quick little reference if you like. Thank you for watching.